And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Business Focus Live with me, John, where we talk about business related topics as well as news from here and around the world. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and let's get started. And we're back. Thank you again for joining me today. So, today is February 25th, 2023. So, in this week's episode, we'll be talking some interesting things that's been going on this past week or so. None more so than our first topic, which is discussing about using technology in our daily lives with using internet for practically everything that we do for all activities, entertainment, work, or even academically. But the resurgence, I would say resurgence, but the topic of discussion is with the latest technology or adoption of technology on 5G technology. Is it any significantly better with 4G technology? And obviously, with newer technology, will it be better? And in terms of cost, will it be significantly higher or lower? We'll discuss that in a little bit. Next is we'll be talking about the Adidas, who's one of the major brand apparels, is partnering up with Major League Soccer, which is a popular one of the major popular sports in the United States. So we'll take a look at that as well. And we'll be talking about Amazon's foray into other businesses other than e-commerce or even cloud-based businesses. So we're talking about the healthcare industry. So how are they entering into this business, and what's the implication, the issue of again the monopolization or the growing uh, clout or control of many industries in different aspects from the big company which is Amazon. And next, we'll be talking about an interesting aspect wherein normally when you play basketball, you use a typical rubberized that is inflated with air. And now Wilson is introducing an airless basketball. So is this going to be a fad? Will it be a better replacement? Will players be actually, will I like using airless basketball or not? We'll see. And lastly, stay tuned for the last part when we talk about an electric bike that is using a wireless chain of sorts, or chainless e-bike. Is that going to catch on, or will the traditional chain with chain bikes be more popular in terms of its cost? So anyway, without further ado, so let's begin with our first topic. So as mentioned, with the growing years, with the advent of internet, and internet access has been growing at an exponential rate, not just here but all around the world. And everything that we do is connected with the world wide web, and obviously better connectivity, faster connectivity, better resolutions, better with everything. Obviously you need faster speed, being able to connect it. And one of the main downsides is, many if you're in the household, you're relying on wired connections to be able to have this access. But in the case may be, having wireless technology is convenient, but it's not always getting top notch connectivity here. So in this article, let's take a closer look here. At cnet.com, it mentions that, is 5G home internet the answer for your broadband needs? Well, one would think that wireless connectivity currently, I'm currently using 4G technology, which is doing its job, but obviously you pay premium for those services. And is it significantly better in terms of remote access anywhere in the country or other parts of the world? Let's take a closer look. It mentions here mobile carriers rave about its capabilities, but 5G offers appealing speed, so better speed, straightforward pricing for households, interconnections too. So let's see here. So it mentioned it's no secret that many of us are tired of being tied to internet service providers, or ISP, with cumbersome contracts, low speeds, restrictive terms, and rising fees. Especially here in Southeast Asia, in particular in the Philippines, we have one of the lowest speeds around the world, yet we pay the highest premium. Again, having monopoly in that market is always never good for consumers here. And according to a survey here in 2022, showed ISPs to be the country's lowest rated industries, and all too often it mentions that we have few options and fewer alternatives. Now, obviously, Elon Musk's Starlink is offering wireless connectivity, but obviously they're catering more to remote locations in far-flung regions, and obviously you pay premium amount for that one as well. Now, as mentioned here in this article, is 5G technology the way of the future? Being what's being promoted in many of our devices technologies nowadays, will it be faster, significantly better than what we used to in 4G technology here? Now, it mentions here that 5G networks which use different radio frequencies than previous generation, which aims to provide faster data speed with much less lag or delay than we had with 4G. And obviously, having faster connectivity may be advantageous on certain aspects. And you know, the one I'm using currently is using 4G fiber connection, which it gets the job done, but obviously it has to rely on wired connectivity. But it would be nice to not rely on wired connectivity and still get the same performance compared to wired connections here. Anyway, it mentions here that is 5 gigahertz the same thing as 5G home internet? Well, obviously, that's not always the case here. And one common mistake here, or misnomer, that 5 gigahertz setting your Wi-Fi router will assume that you will have access to 5G. That's not the case. So, speed of 5 gigahertz is not the same as 5G connectivity here. So, Wi-Fi routers use short-range radio frequencies, typically 2.4 gigahertz to 5 gigahertz, to transmit the internet signal to your devices in our household. Now, 5 gigahertz is one of the band options for home Wi-Fi systems, but it's not the same as 5G, so it's totally different. So, a cellular technology that uses higher frequency waves, as mentioned. Now, a differentiating factor when you're comparing 5G home internet versus fiber or even cable internet here, which what I'm currently using for this live stream. Now, ISP delivers internet service via phone lines or cable connecting your home to a more extensive network. So it's wired, as mentioned. Includes common internet connection types like digital subscriber line, coaxial cable, and fiber optic, as the latter that I'm currently using here. And they are all based on wired connections. Now, 5G home internet, on the other hand, is a fixed wireless internet service, which, from the term wireless, you don't have to rely on wired connectivity here. And will it be able to do the same or even a better job here? I think everyone can agree that having wireless connectivity will always be better, less clutter. But one of the main issue is drawbacks that a lot of us are concerned with. Uh, there are lots of obstacles, walls that you have to contend with the signals degrade or lose, especially live in a condominium or in a townhouse that is insulated with lots of walls all around your location. Will it affect the performance here, which is always the concern? And the fact that you have to pay top dollars to be able to afford it, to use this, is a major concern here. So what they do here is 5G. With regards to 5G technology, the provider will install an indoor or outdoor 5G receiver, like a satellite dish of sorts, similar to that can pick up its signal, similar to a satellite internet. But instead of beaming signal from the satellites orbiting in the night sky, which what they do, it's relaying information from such closer wireless hubs. So different infrastructures within your location or near your locations, even though you're using the same 5G network as your mobile phone. So the gateway is specific to your location and cannot be used elsewhere. So for security purposes, as mentioned here. Now, obviously, the cost will be the main issue for many adopters who's considering on using wireless here, if and ever. And here in our country, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But if they can offer that at the very least, competitive prices and better performance and consistency, I think a lot of people would take advantage of this. And we're looking at some of the examples here. So You have steady internet plans and pricing. So you have the plan here. You can see the max speed is 30 Mbps, which costing around $15 per month, roughly around less than $1,000. But if you're looking for significant speed, let's say above 100 Mbps, which will cost you around $30, around 3 4 thousand bucks. So obviously it's still a bit expensive if you convert it here locally. But obviously they have options that can go as high as 1000 Mbps download speeds and 500 Mbps upload speeds. Now question here is how consistent will the performance be? Only time can tell, and we'll see if a lot of companies will offer this service to the masses here. And now you also have T-Mobile offering internet plans as well. Verizon is another offering similar, around $50 from 85 to 300 Mbps download speed and 50 Mbps upload speed. So question is, will it be available in your region? Only time can tell here. So anyway, so we'll see if this technology will supplant what 4G is currently offering for the masses here. Anyway, next on our topic is we're shifting now to sports in terms of how Adidas, one of the biggest major sports apparel or shoemaker in the world outside of Nike, is now partnering with one of the biggest, I won't say the biggest, but one of the most popular sports pastimes in the United States, which is the Major League Soccer or MLS, and now have partnered with Adidas to renew its I won't say advertisement, but in terms of its apparel of suiting up the athletes as mentioned here. So let's see here. So Adidas, according to CNBC.com, is renewing its deal with Major League Soccer here. So Major League Soccer and Adidas have renewed their partnership. So Adidas will also work with MLS on expanding the US audience for soccer, while MLS kicks off its 28th season this year. Now, obviously, MLS or Major League Soccer is not as popular in the United States, but considering for the rest of the world, soccer is the go-to sports for around the world here. Now, it mentions here that Major League Soccer, MLS, and sportswear giant Adidas agreed to a multi-year extension of their partnership. And the deal announced, which goes to all the way to year 2030, which is valued at close to 830 million, according to the person involved in the deal. Adidas' largest ever investment in North American soccer here, which obviously they're lagging behind in terms of popularity or partnering with bigger sports like NFL and even basketball, even baseball here to Nike as to Nike anyway. So the current contract is set to expire next year, which was signed way back in 2017, which they paid for a tidy sum of $700 million here. So meaning there's obviously there's a lot of popular players there. I mean, even former greats like Beckham, who at his twilight played in this league, and created a lot of hype. I don't say hype, but rise of popularity of the sport. Here, obviously having big former superstars, hopefully current superstars, to play in particular in their league, as versus to playing in the European or South American leagues, is would be a boon for the league of MLS here. But anyway, so obviously it would be interesting how the partner here, the terms of the partnering will be, Adidas will continue to supply the league with branded apparel, as mentioned, plus the footwear, training gear, and the official match ball for for the league here. And according to the MLS Commissioner Don Garber, which mentions that we have sponsorship revenue of nearly $1 billion over a period of time, which meaning I mean, it's not significantly bigger than compared to the other major league sports, but nonetheless, it's generating a lot of money. And obviously, if your sports, or in this case your business sports, is have a lot of eyeball, a lot of viewers, and obviously, business partners would be interested in partnering with your business, in this case the league, so that they can generate more sales in terms of apparel and selling lots of uniforms in this case. And it goes on to mention, with lots of ticket revenue, lots of local sponsorship, getting the largest company in the world to give us a first global digital partnership would always be a tremendous B plus for the league, and a good partnership at that here. Uh, it mentions also that that's the pitch deck, and obviously when you get a partnership like this, it takes that to another level. And obviously, if you can rise to the level similar to how the European soccer leagues, the Liga, what do you call Champions League, and you can see how big soccer is in other parts of the world, and if you can rise to it, and obviously, more revenue, more sponsorship, more salary, bigger salaries for the players. More fans will be watching, and obviously, the perpetuating success of the league would benefit, you know, all fans, and more players, more people interested in playing the sports, even though I don't play the sports, but it's interesting to watch it, and find enjoyment in watching that particular sports here. Now obviously, partnering with Adidas has not been an easy thing here, which has caused a lot of issues with if with partnering with such as Kanye West, which it's a controversy machine in itself. After dropping it, then you have what do you call this? uh, Following the anti-Semitic remarks, which company expects to lose as much as 1 billion. So obviously, partnering with known personality has its pros and cons here. So one has to be careful in terms of who you partner with. Otherwise, could backfire and significantly hamper your image here. That's why even Nike is very careful to jump ship if anything were to go awry in terms of public visibility or negative comments as a whole here. Anyway, so it would be interesting, how popular will the sports grow as the years and decades go by. Will it rise to the same levels as the basketball, baseball, or even the National Football League in the United States? But only time can tell here. Anyway, for our next story, we mentioned that it's interesting that one of the biggest companies in the world, Amazon, tech companies, is now, shifting, not shifting, but adding another element to their business, which is totally different to what they were known at in terms of the e-commerce platform, cloud-based businesses, and even streaming services. And now they're shifting into the healthcare services, in terms of obviously having that big resources at your disposal. Being able to diversify your business is always ideal here. And according to businesstech.com, Amazon is entering the healthcare sector after closing one medical acquisition here. So the deal provides the e-commerce giant the access with a group of primary care doctors. So obviously it would make sense for them to diversify, not just offering entertainment products, and now healthcare services for the masses here. Now, how are they able to integrate that into one business platform would be interesting, or will it be a separate business on top of its primary business here? Now, Amazon announced that it had closed its acquisition of One Life Healthcare, the parent company of One Medical, for about $3.5 billion. The deal was financed after the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, did not file an antitrust complaint. But which goes to the main issue. Sure, they purchased another company, but it solidifies their position in the marketplace even more stronger. And question here is, will this benefit the consumers as a whole, or will this damage the consumers, availability, or options at the end here? Anyway, so what One Medical's offering is mentioned here. So this is Amazon's first, most significant foray into the healthcare, as mentioned. Provides the company with access to a group of primary care doctors. So One Medical's one in-office and 24/7 virtual care services, on-site labs, and programs for preventive care, chronic care management, common illnesses, and mental health concerns will now be available via Amazon. So obviously, if you're a Amazon subscriber, offering this would be a tremendous, which will generate even more revenue for the business here. Now, is it the best service here compared to what the government is offering or what their typical Medicare is offering? Only time can tell here. Now let's see what else are they offering. So a total of over 220 primary care clinics are owned and operated by One Medical in over 28 different states. The locations offer a wide variety of primary care services. This includes provided by One Medical, direct primary care clinics, primary care offices catering to certain workforce groups. Obviously, Amazon has a wide, diverse employees all around the United States. And they also offer here senior health services catering to Medicare covered patients. Access to its specialists and digital health services is offered to subscribers for a monthly charge, which I think makes sense for the business since they are offering a subscription base for their other businesses as well. So if you dovetail, will they offer better value, or is it a separate service here? We'll have to wait and see. Now, after a period of transition, it mentions here that One Medical said that the annual subscription at a reduced price of 144 for the first year will be offered to new customers. It is a saving of $50 off of the standard of 199, almost $200. It would provide users with 24/7 virtual care through text or via access of clinics. So I think it makes sense for the business to acquire Amazon to acquire their business since they're offering it a virtual experience. But obviously, some of it you have to do it inside and in person, and saving on cost for virtual visits would be good in a sense. But obviously, in terms of healthcare, you still have to be physically present when you're dealing different ailments here. Anyway, so costing them 3.5 billion is a lot of money, but I think they've already did their due diligence that they'll be able to recoup their investments in the long run rather than in the short run here. Anyway, continue with our discussion. So, going back into sports, we were mentioning earlier that how sports aficionados, particularly in basketball, have been used to using rubber balls with being filled with air to be able to play the game of basketball. Now, Wilson is offering a new type of airless basketball. Will it be adopted or will it be shunned by players since it doesn't feel the same, doesn't look right, and so forth? So let's take a closer look. Where is it? There you go. So according to techspot.com, Wilson unveils its airless 3D printed basketball that nearly meets NBA regulation. Now, obviously, it has to be similar or better in terms that its counterpart, the rubberized one, or the air basketball. Otherwise, people will be apprehensive, and obviously, cost-wise, will it be more expensive or similar or cheaper? Then that would be the thing to do here. Now, they mentioned there's still work to do before it's ready for courts around the world, but we're thrilled by the possibilities of this ball represents. Now, they mentioned it was a 3D printed concept, but it looks nice. Now, they use black, and it's totally different from the regular color sized or color of we call it brown. Is it brown, reddish, or flesh? I don't know what color you want to call it. Anyway, the sports gear company Wilson has reinvented the basketball. It recently created a high-tech prototype that needs no air to bounce, the so-called Airless prototype. It is the first basketball innovation since Butler University head coach Tyler Hinkle got Spalding to start making easy to see orange basketball in 1957. Orange, so it's not brownish. Anyway, Wilson has reinvented the basketball. It's recently created a high-tech prototype, as mentioned, that needs no air to bounce. But will it degrade over time? I'm curious to find out, because obviously with the regular basketball, you need air. You just have to inflate it, then you're on your way. But with an airless bounce, like a tireless rubber, will it degrade over time? Will you be able to use it for long periods of time, or will it degrade quickly here? Now, What's interesting is why did the company made the new one? Now, whether it was at the behest of the NBA is unclear, but Wilson's R&D department immediately began work on developing a new type of basketball. What it came up with is a hollow honeycomb-like sphere that doesn't need inflating. While the ball has seems similar to a regular basketball, the panels are dotted with holes. So as you can see here. Now, obviously, in terms of its application, it will be totally different now. So you can see through the ball, it's not the same as before. But we have to wait and see in terms of its performance. So you can see here, it has holes here. Now, will you be able to play it outdoors? Because obviously, if it has holes in it, then the question here is, will it be able to still feel and play like a regular basketball if it's wet and water passes through the holes, will become heavier, will have the same bounce or not, or is it only ideal for indoor basketball use here? And obviously that would be interesting in terms of how are they going to market it to the masses here. Now, in terms of how they design it, they mentioned that an airless prototype was made on a CAD design, and then translated into a 3D file, a printer file, that switch they were able to do it with a specific type of polymers to give it the right bounce. And then they call it, they outfit it with 3D printing, calling it an EOS, Echo Oscar Sierra, which usually contracts with aerospace, automotive, and even medical device industries. So the company specializes in the process called additive 3D printing. This technique allows for much finer detail, as mentioned above. So the additive manufacturing was the right choice for the airless prototype because it's literally the only technology on earth that could bring these concepts to life, said the EOS business developer, the company. So now it mentioned that unlike 3D printing that stacks a substance layer upon layer upon layer, the EOS printers lays down a dusting of powder resin and fuse it at the design points with a laser. So a different type of processes is what it's saying. Then the final processing consisted of sealing the powder, dyeing the white ball black, and etching the NBA and Wilson logo to its surface. Now, I'll be interesting to see in terms of its application. Will it have the same feel, or will it be a terrible endeavor and a waste of time for the company, and should focus on, you know, improving the regular basketball that we've all loved and used to ever since. But we'll see here. Anyway, for our last story of our last topic, as mentioned earlier, if you're familiar with using your regular scooter or bicycle, you typically have to use a chain to be able to drive your vehicle forward. Now, a radical invention or drivetrain has been invented that uses a driveless, a chainless, sorry, drivetrain in this case. So whether that's going to rise in popularity, rise of adoption, who knows? But let's take a closer look. So according to electric.co, a radical new ride-by-wire electric bike drivetrain with no chains or belts begins production. So as you can clearly see here, it looks like a typical drivetrain for bicycle. So you just spin it by pushing it. But if you notice, there's no more chains pushing or pulling the wheels at the back. Now it's electric powered, so meaning it generates its own power. So it doesn't rely on a chain anymore. So the design essentially turns electric bikes into a different style of hybrid vehicle of sorts. So it mentions here that most electric bicycles are already hybrids, obviously, though they're what is known as spiral hybrids, the electric drivetrain that is powered by a battery, and the meat drivetrain that is powered by a sandwich that can both independently operate the e-bike either alone or simultaneously. The two drive systems just work in parallel. So it's called parallel hybrids. But a series hybrid like the free drive system is different. It lacks any physical mechanical connections between the pedals and the wheels. So as you can see, there's no chains attached to it. So it places the electric and mechanical drivetrains in series, meaning the rider's pedaling power is converted to electricity that flows through wires to power the motor and ultimately turn the wheels. So you can see one without the other. Now, to achieve this electric generator, is mounted at the pedal, so it's all incorporated uh, uh, in that mount in the pedals that they call it. So the rider turns the generator instead of the chain, which converts that kinetic energy into electrical energy. Then the electric energy flows to the motor and gets converted back to the kinetic energy to power the bike. So it's a perpetual motion as long as you keep on pedaling on it. Now, obviously, that's a great, advancement of technology here, but how much is it going to cost you to be able to do this? And obviously, it's not going to be cheap. And even if there's advancement in technology, there are different applications, obviously, but will it be practical to be used for day-to-day applications? Maybe, maybe not, but there are applications here that's was shown here in the video. I think more for utilitarian, for delivery purposes of such. So let's see here. So let's see what. So it can move people. Maybe if you have a big warehouse, maybe deliver small packages. But again, it would eat up the energy, or the battery quickly if it's pushing heavy items here. But there's a lot of applications of electric powered vehicle here, and obviously for leisure purposes, I don't think that could be practical. But I think pulling for work or for a business, I think that would be practical. But again, I think in terms of cost wise, it's going to be the main impediment for people adopting this. But is there a difference between the electric bike from a regular motorbike or scooter of sorts? The fact that you still have to pull your weight. If you're a motor, you just have to use the machine, which is you know fuel powered, would be much better and less taxing for the driver in itself. So we'll see, and we've discussed this. This scooter of sorts. It's fun to ride it, but I don't think it's for the masses. Obviously, it's a niche market product, but it's always interesting the advancements of technology, that how far we've come from the traditional bicycle spoke wheels to the electric power to the scooter that we have here. Let's see. Did they mention how much is it going to cost in terms of pricing? No. Yeah. And you still have to wait and see if how effective or efficient the transfer of power here. Is it better to use the traditional pedal and chain, or the one that's mentioned here, the driveless, chainless pedal would be more efficient here. Who knows? Anyway, so we'll see if that's going to be adopted anytime, any soon here in our markets here. Anyway, I think that's about it for this week's discussion. And if you have any questions on today's topics, feel free to leave your comments down below, and we'll start a discussion again. Anyway, so I think that's about it. So continue supporting the channel if you find this video enjoyable. If you like, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Share if you can. Hit the notification bell icon so you always stay updated with the latest videos here, whether it's on Monday checklist or even business updates on Wednesdays. So always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.